checking this story and researched kind of where it came from and what evidence they're citing. So in this case, I typed in the title of the story, Powerful Lasers Causing California Fires, and added the words fact check. And a few different articles came up from factcheck.org and from a newspaper organization fact-checking this story. Another strategy I use is just to see if this story is being reported by any other news organizations. And I do that by using Google News. So I type in the same story and I switch over from all Google to Google News, and it pulls up free online newspapers. And so I can check and see, is this being reported by other well-known newspapers? Is it only being reported by newspapers that are clearly, far left or far right? And then also I can maybe find a better source, because I'm really trying to find the best sources of evidence that I can to be a good informative speaker. Another strategy I use when I'm trying to figure out whether a newspaper is reputable is just simply looking it up on Wikipedia. It's a good place to get oriented to a newspaper, kind of what their reputation is in the larger world. In this case, Wikipedia told me that this newspaper Vox is a left-leaning newspaper, and it also told me that they are, have won awards for their journalism, so it's a legit source. But it's also helpful to know that it's coming from a particular perspective. Similarly, you can kind of trace back images by using reverse image search, or by just typing in a description of the image and searching in Google Images. And you're trying to put this picture in context to see where it came from, and if, as in this case, it's been photoshopped. So context is super important for news stories. Where is this information coming from? One part of context is the date. When was it posted? For this story, this was a video that was circulated a lot online about an interview that Fauci did with 60 Minutes in March, saying that people do not have to wear masks. And it was taken out of context and recirculated over the summer. But in April, of course, the CDC changed its recommendation to say that everyone should wear masks. And so when it was reposted again in July, it was not accurate because it had been taken out of context. Another thing you want to think about, especially for a class or for work or just, arguing about anything you care about, is this the very best source for your topic? So you're going to find a million sources, but you want to find the best sources. And what the best source is for your topic is totally going to depend on what your speech is about, right? So if you're talking about baking a cake versus if you're talking about whether to get a vaccine versus if you're talking about, presidential candidates, those are all going to have really different kind of experts. So in this case, this is another Twitter posting about the fires, and you can get information, of course, on Instagram and Twitter and other social media outlets by hovering over the image of the person that posted. And in this case, it looks like a pretty good source. It says they're interested in astronomy, meteorology, engineering, that they are a writer. So this seems like, not a bad source necessarily. But for me, if I was trying to get information about the fires, a better source is definitely CAL FIRE in terms of being authoritative, recognized, and having up-to-date, reliable information.